Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked past an American in public and they smiled at you like they've known you for years? Not a small smile. I mean a full-on friendly smile. Sometimes even with a hey, how are you? Even though you are literally a stranger. And if you're from a country where people don't do that, your first thought is probably, why is this person smiling at me? Do they know me? Or even worse, is something wrong with my face? Because in many cultures, a random smile can mean they're flirting, they want something, they're mocking you, or they're just being weird. But in America, smiling at strangers is almost like a social default setting. And today, we're going to answer the question that millions of people wonder but never say out loud. Why do Americans smile so much, even at strangers? And trust me, the real reason is deeper than they're just friendly. Because once you understand what's behind it, you'll never look at an American smile the same way again. And stay till the end because I'm going to reveal the most surprising reason. Americans smile. And it's something most Americans don't even realize they're doing. Also, a quick question before we start. Do people smile at strangers in your country? Or would that be considered strange? Comment your country and tell me what would happen if you smiled at someone randomly. Alright, let's get into it. If you've ever traveled to the US or met Americans in real life, you know the vibe. You're standing in a store. Someone makes eye contact. They smile. You're in an elevator. Someone smiles. You're walking on the street. Someone smiles. And if you're not used to it, it feels suspicious. Because in many countries, people avoid eye contact. They keep a serious face. They mind their business. So when an American smiles at you, it can feel like they're trying too hard. But here's the truth. In America, a smile isn't always emotional. It's often functional. Yes, it's not always I'm happy. It's more like, I acknowledge you. I'm safe. I'm not a threat. We're good. It's like a social handshake. And once you realize that, it makes way more sense. But why did America develop this smile culture in the first place? Let's talk about it. Here's the biggest reason Americans smile at strangers. America is built on strangers. Think about it. The US is a country where people move constantly. New cities, new states, new jobs, new schools. You can live in one neighborhood for 3 years and then leave forever. So the average American grows up surrounded by people they don't know well. That creates a society where you need quick social signals to survive daily life. And one of the easiest signals is a smile. Because a smile instantly communicates. I'm friendly. I'm not dangerous. I'm not judging you. I'm not here to cause trouble. In countries where communities are tighter and people know each other, you don't need to prove friendliness to strangers. But in America, you meet strangers every day. So smiling becomes like social. It keeps things smooth. Let me ask you, if you moved to a new city tomorrow, would you feel comfortable talking to strangers? Or would you feel awkward? In America, people are trained from childhood to do it. Now let's talk about one major thing that shapes American behavior: customer service. In America, smiling isn't just politeness. It's almost a requirement. If you go to a restaurant and the waiter doesn't smile, people will say, wow, that waiter was rude, even if the waiter did nothing wrong. If a cashier looks serious, customers assume they're mad, even if the cashier is just tired. In America, the face you show is part of your service. And that mindset spreads everywhere. Because Americans don't just smile at customers. They smile at strangers in general. It becomes automatic. And here's something interesting. In many countries, service is respectful, neutral. You don't need a smile to show professionalism. But in America, a neutral face can be seen as cold. So smiling becomes a social habit. And over time, Americans start smiling even when they don't mean it. And yes, sometimes it's fake. But not always. We'll talk about the fake smile versus real smile debate soon, because that part is fascinating. Now let's be honest. Sometimes Americans smile for a reason that isn't cute or friendly. Sometimes it's self-protection. In America, people value personal space. They value individual freedom. But there's also a lot of social tension in public spaces. So smiling becomes a way to avoid conflict. It's like saying, "Hey, I am peaceful. Please don't bother me." You know that moment when you accidentally make eye contact with someone. In many places, that becomes awkward. But in America, the solution is simple. Smile. It breaks tension. It ends the moment smoothly. It's like the human version of saying, "No worries." So yes, sometimes the smile is not about friendship. It's about keeping the atmosphere calm. Now here's a question. In your country, if you accidentally make eye contact with someone, what happens? Do people look away fast? Do they stare? Do they ignore? Comment it, because this is one of the biggest cultural differences in the world. Here's another huge reason Americans smile. In American culture, confidence is everything. Confidence gets you jobs. Confidence gives you respect. Confidence gives you opportunities. And smiling is seen as a confident trait. A person who smiles looks approachable, friendly, successful, emotionally stable, trustworthy, even if they're not. And Americans learn this early. In school, kids are taught to be expressive, to speak up, to be outgoing, and smiling is part of that personality. So even when they feel nervous, they smile. Even when they feel awkward, they smile. Even when they feel uncomfortable, they smile. Because smiling makes you look like you belong. It's like a social armor. Now let's connect smiling to another American habit. Small talk. Americans love small talk, and the smile is the entrance ticket. Because in America, smiling at a stranger is often followed by, "Hey, how's it going? Nice weather today. I like your shoes." Long line. Huh. And if you're not used to it, you're thinking, "Why are we talking? We don't know each other." But for Americans, small talk is not deep conversation. It's a social bridge. It makes life feel lighter. And honestly, sometimes it's not even about the conversation. It's about proving you're polite. It's like a social ritual, and smiling is the first step. So if Americans didn't smile, small talk would feel awkward. Okay, now we have to address the big controversial question. Are Americans smiling because they're genuinely nice, or because it's fake? And the answer is both. Sometimes Americans genuinely feel friendly, but sometimes they smile because it's expected. And here's the important part. Even when it's fake, it's not always evil. It's often a social tool. Think of it like this. In some cultures, respect is shown through seriousness. In America, respect is shown through friendliness. So what looks fake to you might look polite to them. But also, yes, some people smile while thinking, "I don't care." And that's real too. But here's the twist. Even if the smile starts fake, it often becomes real. Because smiling can change your mood. Your brain starts believing it. So Americans might smile out of habit and end up feeling better. That's why it becomes addictive. Now I want to ask you, do you prefer people who are polite and smiling even if it's fake? Or people who are real and serious even if they seem cold? That comment section is about to be spicy. Now here's something people don't talk about. Immigrants in America learn to smile more because they realize quickly, if you don't smile, people think you're unfriendly, even if you're just shy, even if you're just normal. So immigrants adapt. They start smiling at strangers. They start saying hi. They start doing small talk. Because in America, social warmth is part of social survival. It's how you make connections. It's how you get opportunities. And it's how you avoid being judged. And after a while, it becomes natural. So even people who weren't raised with smiling culture start doing it. Because America trains you. Now we're getting into the deeper psychology. Humans are animals. We judge people fast, in a split second. And one of the biggest signs of safety is a smile. A smile shows you're not aggressive. It shows you're open. It shows you're not planning something bad. And in a society with millions of strangers, safety signals matter. So Americans smile because it's a way to say, "I'm not a threat." And that is powerful, because when do strangers smile at each other, both feel safer, even if they never speak. It's like a peaceful agreement. Let me tell you a story. Imagine you're in America for the first time. You walk into a grocery store. You're nervous. You're new. You don't know anyone. And suddenly, the cashier smiles and says, "Hi, how are you today?" And you freeze. Because you think you have to answer honestly. You think, should I tell them my life story? But you quickly realize, they're not asking for your biography. They're giving you a social greeting. So you say, "Good, how are you?" And they smile again. And in that moment, America feels less lonely. That's the power of a smile. Even if it's small, even if it's quick, it makes strangers feel human. Now let's flip it. Why does this American smile culture confuse people from other places? Because in many cultures, smiling is personal. Smiling is earned. Smiling means you're close. So when Americans smile freely, it feels cheap. It feels like, how can you smile at everyone? You don't know them. But Americans don't see it that way. For them, smiling is not intimacy. It's basic politeness. It's like holding the door open. You don't hold the door because you love the person. You do it because it's the right thing. Same with smiling. Now here's the dark side. Because yes, there is one. In America, people smile even when they're stressed, even when they're depressed, even when they're exhausted, because being positive is part of the culture. And sometimes that creates pressure. Like you always have to look okay, always have to look friendly, always have to look happy. And that can be emotionally tiring because sometimes you don't want to smile. Sometimes you just want to exist. But in America, a serious face can be misunderstood. So people smile to avoid being judged. And that's not always healthy. So while the smile culture is beautiful, it also has a hidden cost. Now here's the lesson you can apply in your own life. You don't have to become American. You don't have to smile at everyone. But you can learn something powerful. A simple smile can change someone's day. It can make people feel safe. It can make you more approachable. It can create opportunities. And in a world that feels cold and disconnected, a smile is like a tiny rebellion, a reminder that humans still exist. So here's a challenge. Next time you're in public, smile at one stranger, just once, and watch what happens. Most people will smile back. And if they don't, no problem. You still practice confidence. So why do Americans smile so much at strangers? Because America is a country of strangers. Because smiling is a social tool. Because it's part of customer service culture. Because it's a safety signal. Because it creates connection. Because it's confidence. Because it's small talk. Because it's survival. And maybe, just maybe, Americans smile so much because deep down, they know life is hard. And a smile is one of the few free things that can make it lighter. Now I want to ask you the final question. Do you think Americans are genuinely friendly or just socially trained? Comment your opinion. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Because the next video is even more surprising. Why Americans move out at 18 even if they're not ready. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.